everyone. My name is Humphrey. I live in the desert with my family and my master. We don't stay in one place for too long. We are always traveling back and forth across the desert. In fact, here are some of my friends from the caravan. They are going to sing you a song about, well, me.
I am a camel, a ship of the desert, carrying packages, carrying kings. I rock as I walk back and forth across the desert. I'll carry you if a song you will sing. 7 feet high in the air, you can ride on a hump on my back as we move across the sand. We follow the stars and we know where we are. In the cool of the night we will cross this land. I am a camel, a ship of the desert, carrying packages, carrying kings. I rock as I walk back and forth across the desert. I'll carry you if a song you will sing. I'll carry you if a song you will bring.
Thank you, friends. We camels are ships of the desert. We carry packages and people back and forth through endless miles of sand and sky. Today, I'd like to tell you about one very special trip that I took across the desert. It all started with me losing my blanket along the caravan trail. I didn't notice it until I tried to bed down for the night. It was at that moment I realized that my most prized possession, my warm and cozy blanket, had slipped from my back and gotten lost on the trail. Needless to say, I was devastated and cold. Very, very cold. That night, as I tried to sleep, I shivered and shook in extreme discomfort. The next morning, I decided I did not want to go through that again, so I determined to replace my precious blanket. Finding a replacement for such a well-loved item isn't easy. I had an enormous array of ideas swirling around in my head. Then, the perfect idea formed, and before I knew it, I was racing towards my master's tent. Yes, his tent was the perfect sized blanket for me. He wouldn't mind if I used his tent as a blanket. In the blink of an eye, I was inside the tent and tangled up in quite a mess. Needless to say, my master was not happy, and I still had no blanket. I knew I could not go another night without a blanket. Just then, 3 rich caravans joined our troop. Some of the people were even saying they were kings, or maybe that they were going to see a king. I'm not sure. What I do know for sure is they tied 3 huge chests to my bare back. Boy, were those chests heavy. I thought they were filled with rocks. I cried and moaned as those chests dug into my hump. Then, out of nowhere, one of the men laid a beautiful woven blanket over my back to cushion the heavy chests. I was so surprised and filled with joy. No more cold and sleepless nights for me. I decided never to let this blanket out of my sight. I thought I might enjoy those new men who joined the caravan. They were very generous. Later that evening, we set off on another long journey through the desert. I heard the men saying they were following a star. Maybe the star would light the way to a new city or a beautiful oasis. I could not wait to see where the star would lead.
You all want to join us in singing You're Welcome To? We're going to sing O Come, O Come, Emmanuel.
And ransom
I've never heard that name before. Actually, I did hear men speaking of a child king. There was a story on the caravan trail about shepherds who had been visited by angels. The story went something like this.
And there And there were shepherds residing in the fields nearby, keeping watch over the flocks by night. Now? And there were shepherds residing in the fields nearby, keeping watch over their flocks by night, when suddenly an angel of the Lord stood before them, with the glory of the Lord shone all around them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them,
Do not be afraid, for behold, I bring you good news of great joy that will be for all the people. Today in the city of David, a Savior has been born to you. He is Christ the Lord, and this will be a sign to you. You will find a baby wrapped in swaddling cloths and laying in a manger.
And suddenly appeared with the angel a great multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying,
Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace to men on whom his favor rests.
we crossing the desert? Were we crossing the desert to see this child king? I hope so. Do you think it is really true that angels came from heaven to announce his birth? Sometimes stories get a little exaggerated on the caravan trail. If it is true, then this king must be like no other king on earth. I'm sure that the three rich men knew exactly whom they were seeking. They were extremely wise. I have never heard men discuss the night sky at such length. I guess it's not easy navigating a way through the desert. Listen, I can hear them talking now.
The star has appeared in the east. I believe I have charted the best course to follow the star.
Could it be as the prophets have foretold there is a new king of the Jews?
We must travel to Jerusalem to consult with Herod the king.
And so off we went, our caravan along with the caravans of the three wise men. At least I was warm on the journey with my new blanket. We seemed to be traveling at quite a fast pace. My legs were growing weary. Just as I thought I would pass out from exhaustion, we came upon the great city of Jerusalem. We were immediately given water and food while the three wise men met with King Herod. The wise men were eager to speak with the king. No sooner were they brought before the king than they exclaimed with anticipation,
Where is he who has been born King of the Jews?
We have seen a star in the east.
We have come to worship him.
Herod seemed a bit dismayed and asked to consult with his advisers. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he inquired of them where the Christ was to be born. They said to him, In Bethlehem of Judea. So Herod sent the wise men to Bethlehem and said,
Go and search for this child carefully, and when you have found him, bring back word so I may worship him also.
I wasn't so sure I trusted that King Herod. It seemed awfully suspicious that he would give up his throne so quickly. The wise men didn't seem bothered. They were filled with anticipation for meeting the child king. So we were off again, back on the caravan trail, seeking the king. I wondered what he would be like. My excitement helped to outweigh the weariness of my legs from the long nights of travel. Just when I thought I could not go another step, we came upon the little town of Bethlehem. As we entered the town, it seemed there was no room for such a large caravan to move about the streets. We had to weave in and around the other travelers. I could see the star very clearly, but I was confused. The star was not leading us to a palace where a king would reside. All I saw before me was a lowly stable carved into the side of a hill. The wise men may not have been wise at all. Could it have been the place? No king would have lived there. Why, it was meant for animals like me, not royalty. The three kings cheered and celebrated as they moved quickly towards a young woman sitting next to the child in a manger. I breathed a sigh of relief as the 3 boxes were removed from my back and laid before the child. The boxes were opened to reveal gold, frankincense, and myrrh. I did not understand such lavish gifts for a child. Then, as I drew closer to the child, I understood. Without speaking a word, I felt the very presence of God and fell to my knees. Such inexpressible love I had never felt before. I, too, felt the need to give this child everything, all I had. Before I even knew what was happening, I removed my most prized possession from my back and laid it carefully on the child king. As I looked into his eyes, I realized I did not need my blanket anymore. Surely this child is royalty. He is King of Kings, Lord of Lords. He is love itself. He is Emmanuel, God with us.
We can all sing together a Christmas offering song.
Over the skies of Bethlehem appeared a star, while angels sang to lowly shepherds.
thank you so much for, allowing us to entertain you with this Christmas play. I pray it was more than just entertainment, but that it touched our hearts, and that we can all search our hearts now and really see what God's asking us to give as an offering this season. So thank you so much. Let's give them a round of applause.